But looking at him now, it's more, oh, these were all slights. It's all a slight.
Correct.
Everyone, clap it up for fucking Jerry Krause, the Hobbit.
Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind.
Because to what you just said about the producers made me think. Apparently, they finished episode 10 on Thursday.
Yep. Yeah. The last few episodes they were still editing as it was airing.
Which makes me wonder if they fit in the little Jerry Krause love piece because they had realized how shitty Jerry Krause had looked for the first 8 or 9 episodes. And at the end, they said, hey, maybe we should give Jerry some credit. So there's like that quick montage of everyone saying, like, listen, this doesn't happen without Jerry Krause building this team at least.
I don't know. It feels like a natural thing to do. But also a lot of the footage from 98, I don't feel like it was sincere.
Oh, why you say that?
Like when Phil Jackson is bringing up Krause during the parade. I don't feel like he's actually giving him props. I feel like, hey, remember that fucker who's gonna make us all leave? There he is. He's right over there. Shout out to you, guy.
Yeah, and I think though too about that is I think back then people maybe thought Phil was being sincere because when you look at how Phil is in the scope of that lens, everything seems that way. But looking at him now, it's more, oh, these were all slights. It's all a slight.
Correct.
Everyone, clap it up for fucking Jerry Krause, the Hobbit. You know what I mean?
And I mean, it could have been where, like, and Reinsdorf said this, that, like when they were at the parade and whatnot, the vibe is just so like insane and thankful. So like it might be in that moment where it might have not been it could have, but more than likely it was, but it could have just been where it was like, look, Phil Jackson was already kind of at peace, like of knowing it was done. So, he was just like, whatever, I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to let anything bring me down. I mean, it could have been a slight though too. So
let's go a step further though with that about Phil Jackson being at peace. Because I had a little realization when I was watching this, and you know me, I'm crazy or whatever, so I like to look deeply into things. At one point, I actually kind of blamed Phil for the end here, because and listen, Reinsdorf says that we offered him to come back, right? Phil says that Reinsdorf offered him to come back.
Yeah.
Phil says no. If it was that special to Phil. Or we know Krause fucks up in the first place. Okay? We know that. But if it was that special to Phil, and if Phil really wanted to stick around, why didn't, and we don't know whether this happened or not, but it seems to me like, okay, let me step back. Do you think Phil told the players this? Do you think the players knew that Reinsdorf offered Phil to stay?
No.
Isn't that, I mean, listen, this is in line now, again, considering what we know about Phil Jackson now, isn't that kind of...
You know what, though? I can't blame him. Because the thing is, if you're in that position, it's like I equate it to you being in a relationship and someone just playing games with you. And... and saying, hey, we're going to break up. You go through this big breakup and then it's like, oh no, I'm just kidding. Let's try this again. It's you go through this like emotional, and this whole time he's been preparing for the end. And now it's like, oh, let's do it again. Like, that's rough, man. That's rough mentally, because you're not pacing yourself to go that longer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what his process was before that. But, it's, I can't blame him, man. That's like playing games, like what, like, oh, one more year. Like, I just can't fathom why that was cool with Reinsdorf. Like not asking. I think I would have asked too, even if I botched the whole thing. You still got to try, Yeah. But to tell a man you're done. And then, hey, do you want another one? Like, come on now. I don't know. I can't really blame Phil for saying no.
So this is why it definitely didn't happen, because that team was not going to be the same team. They were going to release Rodman. You can't keep him on.
Nope.
You can't. He's a fucking maniac. Scottie Pippen was not going to sign for 1 year.
Yep.
He was owed tens of millions of dollars for his play, and they weren't going to pay him for past performance. And this is the thing that we're forgetting is, even in the doc, Reinsdorf admits it would have been a rebuild.
Correct.
Why the fuck are we going from NBA champions to rebuild?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to pay Scottie. That's all it came down to. I don't care what they say about Rodman. You can go out and find, and if you there's some other people in the media, I'm not gonna say who, that claim they've gone through all the free agent lists and say, oh, there wasn't another guy like Rodman out there. What the fuck? What are we forgetting here?
Yeah.
Rodman's 2 points and 10 rebounds. Yeah, there's definitely somebody else out there who could do that. And if not, you can trade away Rodman for something, right?
Yeah.
They released his dumbass. He was definitely not going to be on the team. Scottie's definitely not going to be on the team. It would have been Michael and a bunch of scrubs and Phil. Neither of those guys want that situation.
Fair enough.
I don't believe it. Like, I'm much more in line with Michael, where he looks at it, he's like, this is bullshit. Like, this wasn't a real offer. This was just to save face. This is just so you can say later, I tried to bring him back, but he didn't want to come. Of course he didn't want to come to win fucking 30 games after winning 3 straight championships. Of course not. You gave him the offer that he had to refuse.
Yeah. Fair. No, and I think Reinsdorf, he doesn't come right out and say that, but I think he's thinking Dennis Rodman when he says that these guys were not going to be worth the value of their contract anymore. It was it had already approached the line of diminishing returns, and it wasn't worth it. And I think that's directed to Rodman because, again, like the way this documentary points out is that Rodman is still super duper effective at this point in his career. And as we broke down on here on this very podcast, he really isn't. Yeah, they could have found guys. Again, Bison Dele came in that motherfucker pitching heat. You know what I mean?
But from all accounts, though, he's really referring to Pippen.
But probably
from all accounts that I've read and heard, they're saying they're not going to pay Pippen for past performance. They're not going to give him a $70 million contract. They did not believe that he was worth that.
Fair enough.
And that's why they sucked like shit before Michael.
Yeah.
They've sucked shit after Michael.
Correct. They've been cursed. They were cursed.
Not cursed. The owner doesn't want to spend money.
They're cursed.
Yeah.
He wants to spend no money.
It's a curse.
No. And the thing is, you lucked out. You lucked out with Jordan.
Correct.
And so all of a sudden, you became like a guru or something like that. Y'all messed up.
I mean, he still drafted Scottie coming out like a Division II school. Like,
oh no,
he deserves credit, right? But the thing is like, at the end of the day, right, is Krause became the villain, but he doesn't own the team.
Correct.
Reinsdorf didn't want to pay the money, and it's ridiculous to think that giving Michael another $30 million contract. Scottie probably wanted out no matter what, which is why I don't even think this works in hypothetical. But let's just say in the case that Michael presented at the end of the doc, that all those guys have been willing to sign 1-year contracts. I don't think there's a world you can bring Rodman back, but let's say you find a replacement player, right? All those guys play for 1 more year. You can't tell me you're still not making a profit. I don't care what the fuck you pay Michael or Scottie. You're still making hand over fist having those guys play on your team.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole NBA.
Yeah.
The whole NBA was.
We learned when LeBron left Cleveland, I think that was the most famous version of this happening, that the valuation of a team could drop hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I mean? That the Cleveland Cavaliers could go from being worth $900 million to worth $700 million just because LeBron leaps. You know what I mean?
And the whole economy of the city was affected by it.
Yep, correct. And to your point, even though I do think too, maybe this is caping a little bit, that at this point in the 90s, maybe owners don't completely understand how powerful an NBA player yet, because the effect of MJ is still relatively new. You know what I mean? It's 10 years old. Maybe they don't completely understand. I don't know. Just maybe making an excuse. I don't know. Just
he retired and 300 media members from across the country showed up.
That's
a day with no advance.
That's fair.
They showed up that morning.
He
knew. He's just a fucking
he's a cheap
ass dude.
Well, I mean, and I might be wrong, but I was under the impression that like even what's his name, Sterling, the Clippers were trash for years, and he was still making money.
Oh, for sure.
On a trash team.
Yeah.
On a trash team for
Yeah.
so long.
And that's because he wasn't paying anybody. Nobody was.
Exactly.
I mean, besides the fact he was a piece of shit, he refused to pay anybody.
Right.
So everybody would just leave, but you keep everybody on minimum contracts, you're gonna fucking make money.
Yeah, he essentially was a businessman, not a sports guy.
And it's even further than that, because the one of the reasons why, they talk about the fraternity of NBA owners. Well, for some people, it's not about, and I think this is probably what makes it even harder to get to buy a team, because Adam Silver and the Board of Governors don't want to give a team to a guy like Donald Sterling, who, you want to spend $700 million for this team because you know that every single year, no matter what, you turn a profit, right? That's what the process 76ers learned.
Right.
One of the things that Josh Harris and them, they're going to turn a profit no matter what. You're never going to lose money if you own an NBA team. It's almost impossible to own one of the NFL, NBA to lose money. They want guys who are going to do it honestly and build not just buy a team to gain profit, but buy a team to add value to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. While we're here, let's talk about it. Do the 99 Bulls.
Yo. Yo. Justice for the blind. Just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come